Though your Cowboys, the only bright spot in the division yesterday. The Eagles and Redskins both allowing 5 TDs, those defenses. Let's talk about one of those games now. Jameis Winston and the Bucs just embarrassed Philly. Winston connected with 5 different receivers, tying an NFL record for passing TDs in a single game by a rookie. Doug Martin ran all over the Eagles for 235, the most rush yards in a game by any player since Martin himself rushed for 251. That was in 2012. The Eagles lost 45-17. Stephen A., should Chip Kelly survive this season?
Well, first of all, he will be coaching for the rest of the season because I don't think that he's going to quit. But let's be very, very clear. It would not surprise me at all. As a matter of fact, I fully anticipate that this will be Chip Kelly's last season in Philadelphia. I think that he has a bevy of options. And to be quite honest with you, I think he's at a point right now where the only people in Philadelphia who want him is Jeffrey Lurie. And I'm not sure how owner Jeffrey Lurie is feeling about him these days. It's not just that they lost. It's that on too many occasions this season, they've been stinking up the joint. And when you look at the fact that they've been stinking up the joint, combined with the reasons why that is, which is a lack of talent at a multitude of positions, that's really when it hits home for you. We all know that Nick Foles is nothing to brag about. But when Nick Foles is getting paid less than $1 million, and Sam Bradford, or Skip would say Sam Bradford is getting paid, Bradford is getting paid $13 million, and that's a swap that you make, that's bad enough. When Deshaun Jackson just catches a bomb for a touchdown against the Redskins yesterday, you sort of fantasize about that deep threat that could have been in Philadelphia still in this very day. When you're looking at the year that Jeremy Maclin is having in Kansas City for Andy Reid, you know what he could have done in Philadelphia. When you're looking at Shady McCoy and his elusivity, his evasive skills, and then you see a guy like DeMarco Murray, who I like, who you like, we both recognize would have been better for the Cowboys. But this dude has a 185-pound cornerback coming at him in last week's game against Miami. And instead of going for the first down, he literally slides so he doesn't get hit. And you've got guys in your locker room questioning whether or not he's giving it his all. It speaks to a bevy of problems that are going on inside the locker room of the Philadelphia Eagles. Yesterday, Doug Martin, I'm going to repeat this, Doug Martin, who can play, who is no scrub. 235 yards rushing on 27 carries, averaging 8.7 yards a carry, really including an 85-yard touchdown run. 84 yards. I'm just looking at this. That wasn't a touchdown run, by the way, but it's 84 yards. I'm just looking at him, and I'm saying, you've got to be kidding me. Jameis Winston, 19 for 29, 246 yards, 5 touchdowns, not a single interception, a 131 quarterback rating. You just look at these guys out here. And what you're looking at when you see the Eagles, Skip, on several positions, there was talent that was there. You didn't lose it due to injury. You didn't lose it because you know what? They said, we're going to leave and go get money elsewhere. You tried to keep them. No, it was Chip Kelly saying, I ain't worried about them. I got my own peeps. We'll do what we do the way I want it. He literally pushed those people out the door because his system, his philosophy and belief system usurps all talent. And just like he did it in college, he's going to do it in the NFL. Well, here's the news flash. I don't recall one single national championship taking place at Oregon in the Chip Kelly era. And I don't see a Super Bowl title in the near future. And I think that Philadelphia has caught on to it. And I think that this city, looking at the talent that they once had and how they were pushed out the door by Chip Kelly, the patience has worn thin. Obviously, he can resurrect. They'll change their mind at the drop of a hat. If suddenly he turns around and wins his final 5 games, I don't see that happening. I think that the Eagles will lose at least 1 or 2 more games. I think that they will struggle. The best they could hope for is an 8-8 season. They will not make the playoffs, and the star on Chip Kelly, you know, that halo hovering over him will be omitted. It will be removed. Chip Kelly's days, to me, are probably numbered, but more so because he has the choice and will choose to leave rather than put up with the vitriol coming his way. It's not like Jeffrey Lurie would just fire him and push him out the door, even though I'm not ruling that out, but I consider that highly unlikely. I think this is the end of Chip Kelly, but I think it's because he's going to pursue other opportunities because Philadelphia is going to make sure he's not a very happy man.
I hear you. Before I respond to everything you just said, much of which I loved, Allow me to give some credit to Tampa because, listen,
no
Jameis
question.
Winston is getting a hold of how to play star quarterback in the National Football League. Over the last 6 games, he's just had 2 interceptions, both coming last week against Dallas, a game they won. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at his QBR over the last 6 games in which he's cleaned up that. It's a 74. Remember that scale, 0 to 100. Yep. That's 9 touchdowns to only 2 picks in the last 6 games by Jameis Winston.
And 5 games, no turnovers.
5 no turnovers and 5 touchdown passes, all in the red zone. And you say, well, they're short touchdown passes. They're hard touchdown passes for a rookie. I got to tell you, the defense is pushed together. You know, it's just you don't have much room to operate. And for you to go 5 with no interceptions at Philly, it's impressive. And I remind you, Philly scored first in this game. Sanchez hit Josh Huff, what was it, 39 yards for a touchdown? It's 7-0 Eagles. Who could have known at that moment it was going to end up 45-17? Are you kidding me?
Because before Sanchez became the accident waiting to happen.
The ultimate accident waiting to happen. Sanchez has 3 interceptions, 1 pick 6.
That's right.
They lose another fumble. DeMarco lost a fumble. By the way, DeMarco got to go solo yesterday at running back, and he had 13 carries for 64 yards. I know they fell behind, so it took him somewhat out of the game. But he's not a difference maker in this offense for this team. We're far enough into the season to conclude that they paid him to get him out of Dallas as opposed to what he could do for Philadelphia. It was more the money was to get him away, and he just doesn't fit. I don't like him in their offense. I think he's lost a lot of heart in their offense. Okay, so now back to the question about Chip Kelly. To me, this was from the start Chip Kelly's team. Am I right? He was the de facto GM, as you say. So he picked the players. He ran off anyone who dared to question him. A lot of them stars with star capability. And now it's his mess. To me, he wanted to be the star of the show, so now he has to take all the responsibility, if not most of it, for 4 and 6. And I'm looking down the schedule. I got to tell you, they have to go to Detroit, and all of a sudden Detroit's starting to play like the team that barely lost the playoff game in Dallas last year. Am I right about that? Resurgent. They've won a couple games, 3 out of 5, but they're starting to look like
a respectable football team.
Like a respectable. So on Thanksgiving, when they can be pretty tough at home, you sure the Eagles going to win that one? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I'm really not sure. Then the Eagles have to go to the Patriots. I'm really not sure about that. Then they get the Bills at home. I'm not sure about that. Arizona at home. I'm really not sure about that. They get Washington. Maybe they can win that one at home, and then they finish at your Giants.
Tough schedule.
Okay, that's tough. I could see, especially if they lose all faith in the head coach, if they effectively just lose heart for the rest of the year, I could see 5 out of 6 losses. I could see 5 and 11. Woo. That would be the end of Chip Kelly.
Let me tell you what I think. You didn't miss it. You alluded to it, but you didn't go in. Skip, a legitimate argument could be made that this team has given up on him. When you see their effort, to their credit, they're categorically denying it. When you read the Philly newspapers and stuff like that, they're saying, no, it's not true, it's not true. But you got guys like Josh Huff saying, I can only speak for myself. You got DeMarco Murray, he can't be found in a post-game for an interview, you know, after they lose in the fashion that they lose in. You know, usually when that happens, you got to remember, DeMarco Murray averaged nearly 5 yards a carry. Now, obviously, you know, you look at it, there's nothing spectacular about that performance.
But one run was 16 yards,
One was 16 yards. Well, the reason I bring that up is because you can usually, when you know it's not you, you usually could stand there and answer questions.
That's probably true.
When you don't stand there and answer questions and you know that it's not you, it's usually because you want to avoid saying something that's going to get you in trouble. And that's what I think is going on with a lot of players on this team right now. We saw Sanchez arguing with Darren Sproles after a play that ended in an interception. You're Mark Sanchez, and you got the audacity to unmitigate a goal to sit there and think you can argue with Darren Sproles. Who the hell do you think you are? I mean, Mark Sanchez is an unproductive, butt-fumbling self. I mean, please, be quiet. I mean, just zip it. Oh, stop. But what I'm saying is this. In the end, what it comes down to is we have to look at the Philadelphia Eagles, Skip, and just acknowledge that there are players looking like they gave up. Now, if they fight and they end up going 9-7 or 8-8, you know, who knows? But right now, it looks like there are guys who either aren't good enough or guys surrounding those guys who aren't good enough that are demoralized, not only because of the lack of talent that they have, but also because they know they know whose fault it is.
Yep.
It's a guy in Chip Kelly.
That's right.
That came to them and said, bump your talent. Don't mean anything to me. What matters to me is my system, my philosophy, and you either buy all in or you're going to be out of here. And for those that sit up there and will say, Skip Bayless, Stephen A., you know, you're trying to stir the cup, start trouble. Keep this in mind. There are 32 jobs in the NFL. Guys they got to play somewhere. Of course, you'll get guys to go and play for you because they got to take the best opportunities available to them because there's only 32 teams in the NFL. But talk to any of these guys covering the league, they will tell you that this kind of stuff going on in Philadelphia, they haven't seen this. I mean, these players, I'm telling you, me working in Philly for 17 years, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, there's a whole bunch of dudes in that locker room who do not like Chip Kelly. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, okay. And you know how Eagles fans are. The sky is going to fall on this team this week, right?
That's right.
45-17. And just when I thought Chip Kelly had gone out of his way to shore up the defense, it looked much better than it did last year going into this year. Early this year, I saw flashes. And yesterday, you let a rookie quarterback in your house convert 9 of his first 12 third downs. 9 out of 12 was Jameis on his first 12 third downs. That's just embarrassing, man. He ran you off your home turf. You don't think, they're going to be screaming.
And got to remember, you know, your secondary's getting shredded, and you got Barron Maxwell you gave $40 million to. You know, you got the quarterback spot. You paid an extra $12 million. You got to remember, you paid an extra $12 million to have Sam Bradford instead of Nick Foles. You paid an extra $12 million to do that. And so when you look at it from that perspective, and then you see the way Deshaun Jackson, Shady McCoy, you need him to be elusive. You need somebody that can juke you like that. Shady McCoy was an asset. He is not going, and this is what Philadelphia is a great, phenomenal sports town. They know their football. Here's their problem. They know that LaShawn McCoy is gone for something other than football. They know it. And they're like, why is he gone? That's the problem here. That's the problem.
The problem is going to be gone.
I don't think Chip Kelly's back next year. I don't believe it.
It's okay. Speaking of Philly being a great sports town, it's just a rough month in general. Between the Flyers, Eagles, and 76ers, they've lost all 12 home games in this month, so just all across the board.
I have to say this on another item, Skip. Please forgive me for diverting. The Philadelphia 76ers, this dude, Sam Hinkie, they need to put him, let him be a capologist or something.
How many years do you get?
You can't, how many years do you get? I mean, just throwing seasons away. I feel so bad for Brett Brown. We can't even judge him as a coach, Skip, because he's never been given any talent. He's never been given any talent.
Popovich loves him.
What has been done to that man by the Sixers organization is a travesty. Is a travesty. Hinkie, put him as a capologist, a guy like Scott O'Neal, somebody that could go out and recruit free agents.
That's fair.
From the 4th largest market, and then Philadelphia have a better sports town. It's a disgrace what's happening. I know we talk about football, but it's a disgrace what's happening to the 76ers. It really is.
All right, you know what? I do want you guys to judge the Denver situation. Osweiler, Brock solid in Chicago as Denver gets back on track.
Clever.
Yeah, that was Brian Ford. But what does this mean for Peyton's future with the Broncos? We'll get into that after the break. Stay here.